What's good, everybody? This is Kyle here with day 4 of the 90-day YouTube challenge. And yesterday, my video was about my high-dose LSD experience, my first solo trip that kind of kick-started my spiritual path, if you will. And I was reflecting on it and realized that I've never really kind of laid out my journey anywhere before or to anyone like this. And so I thought I'd use this 90-day challenge to try to kind of dissect my journey, maybe remember as much as I can and try to communicate as much as I can. And perhaps it might help you all and help people who are on a similar path. So I had this incredible, mind-blowing LSD experience. I kind of made this realization, and I certainly felt like I had almost completed the loop of samsara, in a sense. Like, I certainly felt I was reborn. I was just in this state that lasted the rest of the night, and I couldn't sleep. I was making all these connections and insights with what I'd been reading up until that point. And yeah, like I said earlier in the last video, it just seemed like everything was just this flowing painting, almost like a Van Gogh painting, when I was just in this clear light of pure awareness. And the next morning I had waited for my brother to get up and immediately told him about this. And he saw my excitement and my enthusiasm, and he too wanted to have a similar experience. And what it did is it sort of just awakened me to this new witness consciousness, as Ram Dass likes to put it, this sort of soul awareness. And it changed my relationship that I had with my own mind and my own thoughts. Definitely sort of detached me from that thinking mind. But it also made me start to create these new connections, and I was able to see things from a new perspective. We often talk about this idea of this third eye awakening, and I think this experience for me was certainly my own third eye awakening. And like I alluded to in the last video, all the songs that I started to hear seemed to be telling me the same message, and I really felt like the universe around me was communicating with me. It sounds a little bit weird, I do admit, but I do think it's important for me to kind of just get this out there and express it. And so I remember going out to dinner maybe a few days afterwards with my girlfriend and her family. We were out eating Chinese food, and so we all had these fortune cookies at the end of the night. And we were all going around the table, everybody was reading their fortunes. And because I was in this really tuned in, this dialed in state, I could just see how everybody's fortunes was connected to their life at that moment, in that period of time, even if they didn't really think so, or if they didn't realize it. And so as they were going around, I had my girlfriend next to me, and I whispered, like, hey, my fortune, I hadn't read it yet, but I said, I hadn't even opened my cookie yet, but I said, look, mine's gonna say something about how I got it. I figured it out, I had won or something like that. And so I opened up my fortune cookie, and lo and behold, this was my fortune. Lucky you. Get out your party clothes. And this completely blew my mind. It also blew my girlfriend's mind at the time. She was like, what are you on? Like, how is this possible? And yeah, it's definitely freaked me out. This was sort of the first time that I really had this very clear synchronicity where my mind and my state of consciousness was reflected back to me in the outer world. And I wasn't really sure what to do with this. I wasn't sure where to go from here. I had this very profound experience, and I was in this sort of afterglow, and I knew like all I had to do was kind of get to that same space beyond mind, just let go of the thinking mind. But I wasn't sure how to kind of live with that or what to do next. And so I really started getting more into Ram Dass because, you know, the book that had kind of led me to this experience was written by Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, who eventually became known as Ram Dass after he went to India to meet his guru and study yoga and meditation. You know, he had seemed to kind of walk the same path that I was now on. And so I started reading a lot of his books and confided in him as a way to, you know, kind of move forward on this journey. And yeah, you know, it was certainly bittersweet, I guess you could say, because in one sense I do feel like I had realized the truth of my own existence. I'd figured myself out, and at the same time I wasn't, you know, I still had my whole life ahead of me, and I wasn't sure really what to do. You know, I was seriously contemplating just kind of dropping out of the world, so to say, and, you know, going to India, becoming this ascetic yogi who would just kind of meditate and practice all day. But that, you know, that wasn't very viable for me at the time. You know, I was planning on going to college the next year. So it certainly created this ripple effect in my life, which had both very positive and also not so positive effects in my life. And yeah, I'll go in a little bit more detailed what that means in these later videos, but I just really wanted to share with you this, you know, very first clear synchronicity experience for me. You know, with a tip to like be aware and to really be receptive to signs and synchronicities around you. You know, sometimes the universe really is sending you signs if you just, you know, really center in that witness state, that non-thinking mind, and just being receptive to what wants to come forward. So I think we'll stop there for now for today. I'll continue on my journey tomorrow. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. And with love and light, may peace be with you.